I'm getting ready to make another journal cover. I went to Joann's yesterday and they're pretty picked over. And the glue, I thought I'd give this glue a try. It's Aleene's Industrial Strength Glue Stick Permanent Adhesive. They didn't have what I was looking for, but I thought I'd give this a try. It was $3.84 and only 10% off of that. The glues were only 10% off. And then as far as sewing items, this was $4.99 and it was 25% off. But I've got my cracker box all cut up, and then I'm going to go ahead and keep this flap and make it a pocket. And I've got packing paper, 2 layers of packing paper because it's very see-through. So I've got 2 layers of packing paper that I'm going to glue together, and then I'm going to glue it to this beige side because I have a feeling we're going to be able to see, yeah, you can see the cracker box through this side. So I'm going to glue it to that side. I've cut down a manila folder so that this is going to be what's going to be attached to the cover of my next journal. I've got a huge half-gallon tub of white gesso. It's Artist Loft white gesso. I got it at a Black Friday deal, but I don't want to contaminate that big tub, so I've put some gesso in this little jar here. It's just a little pot, and I'm going to apply a number of coats of gesso. This is going to be an experiment for me because I've not painted a manila folder that's had gesso applied. So I put 5 thin coats of gesso on here and then I let it dry. Hopefully it's all the way dry or this is going to go horribly wrong. About 10 years ago, I taught this painting class, and you can look up you can Google time-lapse of the sky, the time-lapse of the night sky, and you'll see lots of photographs where there's variations in color. So I'm going to do that. This is landscape, but I want to do it as portrait so it fits upright on my journal cover. So I'm going to attempt to do a similar painting to this, not identical to it, but similar to this on this gessoed manila folder. So when I do my strokes, they're going to be curved. They're going to be kind of like this when I do them. Kind of going to an invisible apex right here. So I'll be doing the blue sky probably from here up, and then down here in this section is going to be trees. And these are the colors that I'm going to be using: white, electric blue, some metallics because I like how metallics look on a painting. So this is blue sapphire, amethyst, purple pansy, and then a black. So I've just got them going from lightest to darkest on here. And I don't want to use a really wet paintbrush because, again, this is a manila folder here that I've gessoed, so I don't know how well that's going to work. So I dampen my brush a little bit first, and I'm going to keep this painting here so I can kind of keep an eye on it. I'm going to have lighter colors down here and then slowly get darker as I go up. And I like the streakiness of this. So I can double load my brush so that I've got some light and some dark at the same time. And that will also give me some variation in color. And then I'm going to go darker as I go up. I don't want to play on this too much or go over it too many times because I know I will go through that gesso real quickly. Going to introduce a little bit of the purple here and there. Now I'm going to start getting darker. And then I go back and forth from the darker color, and then I go to the color that I used previously to help blend it a little bit more. So I'm doing the purple, the dark purple with the lighter purple. Put a little bit of the lighter purple in there as I'm going. And now I want to do nice and dark. I'm up here at the corner, and up at the corner is the darkest. And then I definitely don't want a lot of black in there at the top corner. I want a little bit of black. And I don't want to play too awful much. I'm thinking I'm getting to the point where I'm playing too much because it's starting to turn into mud. Let's see, I think what I will do next, I'm going to try and get that thick stuff off of there, maybe a little bit of the dark blue into this again. All right, that's good. And I think what I'll do next is do some white flicks, so it's like stars. Let's see, is this going to be thick enough? Yeah, I think that'll be thick enough. Let's see, let me practice on here. Nope, that's not working. I'm going to get a white tooth, or let me see, do I have a toothbrush near me here? Ah, yes, yes I do. All right, I'm going to get this all over my thumb and probably all over my clothes. The closer you get, the bigger the splatter. The farther away, the more sparse. but I definitely want it to be a good contrast. So I'm going to put a lot of white in here because that'll make a good contrast with the painting. And then I want to do what looks like a shooting star. So what I'm going to do is take the back of a paintbrush. Let me dry it so there's no water drips on it. And then just take the very tip of the paintbrush into the white. And then we're going to just put a dot there and then pull. And that makes our shooting star. I'm going to dry that, and then I'm going to start working on the trees in the foreground. I need to fix a spot right here. It looks like I got it too wet. But then after I fix this section right here, I'm going to start working on my trees down at the bottom. And I think I'm going to make them taller and then go a little bit shorter. Not sure. We'll have to see what I do once I get there. But let me fix that corner up here. Good enough, good enough, good enough. Alrighty, so I'm going to start with doing my trunk. And just maybe make this one. Made that a little bit too wet. And then I think I'll do next one, maybe about that tall. And then I'll go up a little bit on this one. And then maybe make this one really short. This one here. And then maybe go back up. Maybe here. Let's just try that. So that'll be where I'm going to start. And I think I'm going to dab this first tree a little bit because I think I made that a little too wet. Let's see if I can soak up some of that water. There we go. Let me dry it. I'm going to try using this fan brush. I cut it down a little bit because it was just a little bit too long. I like to get my brushes a little bit wet first so the paint soaks up onto the brush a little better. And I think I'm just going to try the edge. And just kind of dab. And it kind of helps to kind of do like a jittery coffee dab. You know, if you've had coffee and you're a little bit shaky, that's the kind of and just go back and forth. And then I'm pretty much going to be mostly solid when I get down here to the bottom. I like that texture. And now I'm just going to keep doing the same on all of the trees. Let's see if I can wipe that off while it's still wet. That was just a tad bit too far out. Just a slight damp paper towel helped erase that piece right there. Dry this off so it's not so wet. You know, pine trees and conifers, they all have a different shape. And this isn't realistic painting. This is impression. I'm not trying to make this look real. Just give it the flavor of a tree here. There we go. Give that a dry and see how that looks. I've finished gluing on the painting, and then I also added some torn up sheet as my closure. The overall measurement is about 8 1/8 inches by not quite 5 1/2 in centimeters. That's a little over 20 1/2 centimeters by 14 centimeters to the edge. And since I used a cracker box, this is 2 3/4 inches, which I think I'm just going to put 2 signatures in here. And let's see. The inside's not finished because I was just working on the cover. And this is the pocket that I made out of the cracker box. Hope you liked it. Oh, now, if the camera picks it up, do you see the metallic paints I used? Isn't that gorgeous? I love that effect.